What about artificial sweeteners? Has anything new come out recently?
In my view, artificial sweeteners and low-calorie sweeteners in general are, by and large, safe and very effective for fat loss. There have been multiple studies where they found that it can even help with diet adherence, and at worst, they're equal to water. So they don't stimulate blood sugar response, they don't affect your insulin. And this is not just me saying, it's actually pretty much all the big scientific institutions that agree with this, just not the media headlines, which are very keen to take a rat study where they have dosages that are the equivalent of consuming like 200 cans of Diet Coke per day. And then if you do that for the equivalent of a lifetime, then there is an increase in the number of tumors that are found in this group versus the other group. Right? So there have been numerous organizations, the European Union, FDA, that have looked at pretty much all of the popular sweeteners, especially aspartame and sucralose, and concluded that they are safe. Gut microbiome, also in most well-controlled studies, not an effect. Now, are they 100% perfectly safe for your whole life, regardless of dosage? No, definitely not regardless of dosage. And when you consume them for decades, is there potential for harm? Sure, it's still something that we have not fully researched, like we don't have randomized control trials spanning 50 years. But you also have to weigh the pros with the cons. So there are potential negative health effects, maybe, not really in the best controlled research, but at least in animal research with super high dosages and stuff. You have to weigh that with the better diet adherence that you might get, with the higher satisfaction from your diet, with just the enjoyment of consuming foods that you like to eat more when they are sweeter, with the fact that maybe now you're eating vegetables instead of something with a lot more sugar, because you can sweeten the vegetables and it's now okay for you. So you have to weigh all of these positives with any potential negatives. And in that sense, I think for most individuals on practical basis, sweeteners are a net positive. If you don't want to use sweeteners, fine. But if it helps you with fat loss, and that in itself is probably going to more positively affect your health than any negatives of their consumption.
Yes, that if the choice is between high calorie drink containing a shitload of sugar and you getting a trace amount of fucking Ace K or something, we probably take that. This was the I found it really interesting takeaway from Johan on that book about Ozempic, and he kind of created a kind of like a taxonomy, or like he stratified out people into BMIs and said anybody under BMI 27, he thinks there's no real benefit. This is largely for aesthetic reasons, and there's all of these downstream health risks that may be worrying. 27 to 35 is the gray area, in which where he said, it really depends on kind of what you're trying to achieve, because you're going to discriminate, it seems, more muscle loss than fat loss by using Ozempic. You get Ozempic face, which is this sort of new trend that's going on. He said over 35, consult your doctor, blah, 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 blah. But I think that the risks of Ozempic seem to be less than the risk of you being a BMI of 37 or something like that. And I think that looking at, this sort of cost benefit analysis, even when it comes to artificial sweeteners, like what's the alternative? If you are someone with a sweet tooth and you need to put something away to satiate that desire on a regular basis, the choice between, how many, it's like 250 calories, probably 40 grams of sugar in a normal Coke, something like that.
It's usually like 50 calories per 100 milliliters, most soft drink products.
Okay, yeah, so not far off. What about how effective are artificial sweeteners at satiating our desire for sweet stuff? Because there's an argument to be made that you're conditioning your palate to like sweet things, and by having your Zevia during the day, you're then going to relapse with cheesecake on a nighttime. Is there anything to do with that?
There is something there, but it's not different between sweeteners and any other sweet food. So sweeteners don't hijack any of the systems in your brain or anything like that. They can be very sweet, of course. And in general, humans learn to like what they eat. It's funny, people think that they don't eat things because they don't like them, but research actually shows that we learn to like the foods we eat. So we like foods because we eat them in part. Of course, we also eat food because we like them. But you can actually retrain your brain and even your reward pathways in your brain to like vegetables, for example. And you can see that when you do brain scans with people that have eaten vegetables for a long time, the reward pathways actually light up more in their brain when they're used to vegetables. Now, a similar thing can occur with salty food, sweet food, anything. So if you eat a lot of sweet food, you might like sweet food more, and it might increase your what level of sweetness you find agreeable. But it's very context specific. It's limited. And as long as you can satisfy that with your sweeteners, there is not really a problem there. So I don't think that there's anything malicious there in terms of sweeteners having these negative effects.
I can't believe that you suggested somebody putting sweeteners on vegetables. That seems like I don't know. I've never even considered it. Who knew that I could just sprinkle some Splenda across broccoli and it would taste nice?
It's amazing. Broccoli, maybe not, but I add sweetener to almost everything. I put sweetener in my soy sauce. Yeah. So.
Oh my God. What is wrong with you?
It works super well. If you eat, for example, pasta or tomato soup. And what is the difference between like a super good, high quality tomato soup and a really average one? It's the level of sweetness by and large. So, and I've actually tested this with individuals. If you give them like canned tomatoes with a little bit of sucralose, they'll be like, that is good. And then you can tell them like, yeah, fresh from Italy, best tomato quality. I doubt many people will tell the difference between higher quality tomatoes that are naturally sweeter versus cheaper ones with a little bit of sucralose in it.
Wow. I didn't realize everybody that comes around to your house for dinner is now going to know that they're being cooked by Splenda. You're just secretly lining up Splenda in the kitchen and they don't know. This episode is brought to you by Element. Stop having coffee first thing in the morning. Your adenosine system that caffeine acts on isn't even active for the first 90 minutes of the day, but your adrenal system is, and salt acts on your adrenal system. Element contains a science-backed electrolyte ratio of sodium, potassium, and magnesium with no sugar, no gluten, no coloring, no artificial ingredients, or any other BS. It plays a critical role in reducing muscle cramps and fatigue while optimizing brain health, regulating appetite, and curbing cravings. The orange flavor in a cold glass of water is literally the best way to start your morning. I've done it every single day for over 3 years now, way before they were a partner on the show, and I love it. Best of all, there is a no BS, no questions asked refund policy, so you can buy absolutely risk-free, and if you do not like it for any reason, they will give you your money back, and you don't even need to return the box. Right now, you can get a free sample pack of all 8 flavors with your first box by going to the link in the description below or heading to drinklmnt.com/modern wisdom. That's drinklmnt.com/modern wisdom. Thank you very much for tuning in. If you enjoyed that clip, you will love the full-length podcast in all its glory, which is available right here. Go on. Press it.